I'm getting violently uncomfortable with what is becoming an all too common notion in our country that if there's an injustice in your eyes, murder is the way to go. I'm getting very uncomfortable with people that kind of look at murders and start to kind of weigh them and say, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't have murdered them, but you got to kind of understand the motivation. Have you noticed that? It's seeping in, and I'm sorry to say that it's seeping in into some corners of supposed conservative programming as well, and I find it sick. There is never a justification to go indiscriminately murder someone in cold blood because of something you perceive as an injustice somewhere else. There is never a justification for it. And whether it's the American media actually feeling sorry for South African government officials who visit the United States and were ambushed by I tapped into this yesterday before the show concluded. I told you Axios said, boy, it's getting unsafe for global leaders to come to the Oval Office because Trump's so damn mean. Yeah, Trump's a real monster for asking the South African president to stop allowing his parliament members to gin up hatred and murder against whites in South Africa. What a monster Trump is. In fact, I have a whole montage today. 2172. This is a whole montage of the media in this country actually suggesting Trump's the villain and this South African president who is allowing the murder of whites in his country by his own government, somehow he was ambushed. This is becoming entirely too normal in this country that the whites have it coming. Listen.
To the dramatic scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Up next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush.
Well, Katie, I mean, it was an ambush.
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 An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Maryland man, Maryland man, Maryland man, ambushed, 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 Maryland man, ambushed, Maryland man. It's a psyop, folks. This is sick. This is sick. Donald Trump is the enemy for calling attention to genocide in South Africa. And the poor South African president was ambushed. Donald Trump is the villain for deporting a gang-banging, wife-beating, human-trafficking thug out of the country to El Salvador. Trump's the villain, and the gang-banging thug is the one with whom we should feel empathy, sympathy. This is... Or people who would say a 30-year-old from Chicago shooting a couple of white kids in a Jewish museum because, well, look at what Israel's doing. This is why the Trump administration is going at the Ivy Leagues the way they are, and I'm glad they are, because this is the kind of thing that has been raised up in this country and is now occupying the halls of most major mainstream media outlets and has set little ticking time bombs loose all over the country who are just, they're on, I don't know what else to say. They're bonkers. They're bananas. They're driven with paranoia and rage at this country. And if it's not that we're killing ourselves by warming the planet and we shouldn't have babies and we should isolate and be alone together behind masks because of COVID, or because Israel's an occupier and we're the great Satan along with Israel and we got to do something to stand up for the genocide or whatever. And so when you're driven to that kind of madness, you start picking up weapons and you start murdering people. The left is sick. The left is sick, and it must be defeated wherever it's found.
The Chris Stigall Show podcast.